Hey, everybody, welcome to Takeoff with John Clark, and let's bring in our special guest, Sixers president of basketball operations, Daryl Morey, and he is out in Chicago. Daryl, congratulations on keeping your pick and getting the pick. How huge is this for the franchise?
Oh, it's massive, and really happy for Sixers fans who went through a very rough season, like all of us. And when you go through a rough season, you want to make sure you take advantage, both with young players, with Bona, Edwards, Grimes, Jared McCain, and also we've got two very good picks in this draft now, number 3 and number 35.
So in years past, of course, you have been in the NBA for a long time. Where would you rank these players? Let's say top 3 players in this draft.
Yeah, I think the top 3, 4, you could argue 5, maybe could be. I mean, like there's good players in this draft. The top of this draft, I think, is I would say I was very fortunate to start my career in the 2003 draft, which some argue is the best draft of all time. So, but I think it's in the top 5 of high quality players at the top of the draft in my career.
Wow. Now, at this time, do you have an idea? The Sixers have an idea, all of you together, of who you're going to draft if he's sitting there, or a couple players?
I mean, we've been working all season, so we have a good sense of the players we like, and we're really comfortable at number 3.
And I heard you say you're not going to draft for need in any way. You take the best player available. What do the Sixers need at this point, in your opinion?
I mean, we need a championship, so I would say, yeah, we're not looking at the draft for need. We're gonna do that. Address that through free agency and through other means as well.
And do you see potential future all-stars that could be sitting there for you at 3?
I mean, historically, obviously Joel Embiid was 3. Historically, the 3 pick has a pretty good potential to be an all-star level player. There's a lot of misses at 3 as well, so we got a lot of work to do to make sure we get this right. But historically, and especially in a good draft like this with a lot of high potential players, yeah, we have a good shot at getting a future franchise, very important player.
And in your mind, do you see yourself using this pick? I know there's going to be some player movement. There's some guys that may want out of their teams, wink, wink. But do you see you using this pick?
Yeah, our plan is to pick this pick. Yep.
Yeah. Now, you have talked about having a younger, more dynamic, more athletic team around Joel Embiid and Paul George. You obviously have McCain, you have Maxey, and you're going to have a 3 pick and then a 2nd round pick. With Joel's knee and his situation and his age and his size, how can he keep up and play the style of basketball you want to play?
I mean, he can. I mean, I think folks have seen him play at a high level, and he's working to get back to that. And to your point, I think, if your rotation is 9, 10 guys, the vast majority of those players are going to be, guys in their prime, guys either at the start of their career, like Justin Edwards or Bona or McCain, to the number 3 pick, to the number 35 pick, to, really guys in their absolute peak, like a Tyrese Maxey. So we're going to have a younger athletic group next year around Joel, Paul, and Tyrese.
Now, you were on the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast, and Brian Windhorst of ESPN is out there picking up on something you said, where you said, if Joel Embiid comes back, you think he'll be at a high level. What did you mean by that? Is there a chance that Joel doesn't play?
My sense is he didn't listen to my answer. I think I gave like a 5-minute answer, and it got pulled into I'm sure if things go well for you, John, we'll get pulled into a couple of clips out of it. If you listen to my whole answer, my point was, Joel, cares so much about the championship, cares so much about winning, that when he plays, he's gonna. Because the question I got was like, is he going to, be the backup big someday for the 76ers? And I really just don't see Joel being that. He's an elite player. He cares about winning so much that he's going to play at a high level when he comes back.
Now, Paul George, of course, he has a podcast and he's back. He has said a couple of months ago that he thinks Ace Bailey is a better pick than Cooper Flagg. Has Paul let you know his opinion?
I haven't spoken to Paul directly, although I was with his agent yesterday. The combine here is a big agent get together. And look, Ace is a tremendous player, absolutely someone we're considering. We're looking at, every option at 3 and the players that we can pick, but we feel very good about who we're going to pick. And Ace for sure is someone we're considering.
And a couple questions about Joel and his surgery. I didn't get a chance to ask you a couple things. I guess my question is about a year ago, or less than that, Joel had a similar surgery on the left knee, meniscus surgery. And is this what he just had? Is this a similar surgery to last year? And if so, why are you confident? Why is everybody confident that the results will be different this time?
Well, I think the surgery was a scope. Confidence comes from the doctor who did it and feels very good about the outlook. It's the same doctor who worked with Kawhi. Uh, Again, you could go back a year and you say Kawhi's pulling out of USAB. Everyone's saying like, "Oh my goodness, what's with Kawhi? Was Kawhi ever going to be who he is?" And then he's playing 45 plus minutes in the playoffs over and over for the Clippers. So my point is like, we feel very good because of the feedback we're getting from the doctor and the work that Joel's putting in.
So also, when you guys shut him down, he was unable to play in late February of last season. It was, I guess, 4 or 5 weeks before it was determined that he would have this scope arthroscopic surgery. How come it didn't happen right after he was shut down for the season?
Yeah, that was talking to, I believe, somewhere between 9 and 12 doctors just to make sure we get every I dotted and every T crossed, choose the right doctor to do the surgery, choose the right approach. So that was what took the time.
Is this a situation where there were some maybe more invasive, serious surgeries that could have kept him out a long time, and it was decided, hey, we don't want to go that route. We want to see if we can go ahead and do the less invasive surgery?
It was really more just looking at all the options and making sure that the right one was being chosen.
Okay. And after what happened last year with Joel and the issues the knee had coming back, what did you learn about the approach, the plan for you, Joel, everybody involved?
Yeah, I think for everybody, and we had a lot of conversations with the players during the season and after the season as well, is to go into this next season on the ground running. Again, I've sort of owned up that a big mistake I made was focusing too much on the playoffs right at the start. We need to go out there and prove that we're the team we know we can be. We needed to prove that early and hit the ground running next year versus, I had a lot of, comments early in the season I thought were a mistake about, let's just get ourselves set up for the playoffs and, we'll be better about that next year.
But is it a situation again where you really have to get Joel to the playoffs healthy and not play him as much during the regular season?
Well, I think that'll be up to the medical staff, the doctors, and things like that. But I do know that based on where things are at now, that all of our players will be available to start the season. Yeah, obviously a lot of info will come as Joel goes through what his rehab and gets himself ready for next year. But right now, based on the information that we have, we feel good about all our players being available there from game one.
And you said you learned a lot about last year. Does Joel need to do more as far as conditioning or diet or strengthening the area around the knee to help that process of staying healthy with the knee?
Joel's doing everything he can to be out there, from conditioning to rehab to everything. He's doing everything to be ready for game one next year.
And this team on paper, like last year, you said they had the third best odds, and so many different things happened with injuries. Where do you think this
that was
team
like
could be?
just a fact?
Yeah.
Look, we think our roster is better going into next season. Obviously, the 3 pick helps that, and all the development that Coach Nurse did with Edwards, Bona, and McCain, and the trade for Grimes, and where's he? So we like our roster better going into next season. I don't think we'll be regarded that highly in Vegas just because we had a very tough year. And I think until people see us healthy and playing, they're not going to believe in the team, and I understand that. But I like where we're coming from. We have the chance to have a much better team than going into the season last year, and let's go out there and prove it.
And there's a lot of people, they want to see Joel healthy. They want to see him playing MVP level basketball, but there's a lot of people that are skeptical after what happened last year that he can play on that knee. And Kawhi, he is smaller than Joel. How much tougher is it for Joel at his size with the pounding that the knee takes on a basketball court to get through this?
Well, I think everything factors in, whether it be the specific injury, the position, everything like that. But, I've mentioned this in the past, just to take a random player, a Brook Lopez, very injury prone, played 30 games that are actually slightly, or in a season, slightly older than Joel. Again, I'm not comparing those two players from an actual basketball perspective, but they're similar sized players. And then Brook has gone 78, 79, 80 games in 3 straight seasons. So, like, my bottom line is, like, you don't know. We're not going to know. We're not going to know until it happens, but we feel optimistic that Joel's on the right path.
How much do you think Tyrese Maxey learned last year going through all the things that he went through, but the other injuries? And it seemed like his spirit was affected. How do you think he's going to grow through that, what he went through?
Well, I think that's one of the big benefits. Besides his advancing on the defensive end, he also advanced with all the defenses he faced when he was the primary focus of the defense. So besides developing young players, besides the number 3 pick, Tyrese is much more advanced in dealing with, advanced defenses that are targeted at him.
So Joel Embiid, Paul George, you expect them to be ready to go and healthy. Do you envision this draft pick being able to start with Tyrese Maxey, possibly Jared McCain?
I mean, that'll be up to Nick. Obviously, starting in this league, especially on a team that's with championship aspirations like us, is difficult, but we're not putting that expectations on him. I do think that the number 3 pick will very likely be in the rotation, however.
If you had a message for Sixers season ticket holders and Sixers fans about why they should get their hopes up again with this team after what happened last year, what would be your message to them?
Yeah, my message would be, look, we know you've gone through a lot, but we've built on last season, and now we have a young, dynamic group with another high potential player in the number 3 pick coming in. Tyrese is going to advance. Jared McCain was the odds-on favorite for the Rookie of the Year. Quentin Grimes is one of the best young players out there as well, along with Bona Edwards, the 35 pick. I mean, this is going to be a fun group around two really great veterans, Joel and Paul George.
Do you feel for Sixers fans? Because before you got here, there has been so much stuff that Sixers fans and the team and everybody that worked for the Sixers, they've gone through. I mean, there's been so many things that have happened to this franchise, and it seems like they continued last year. Do you feel for Sixers fans and the grind of all these seasons since the process of trying to get this right?
Yeah, I wasn't here for many of those, but of course I understand them. And look, it's been a journey, and with Monday's lottery, I think things are turning.
All right, final questions for you about that. We saw your emotions with the lottery. Now, was there a moment where, going into this, you had the doubt in your mind, like, are we actually going to be able to keep our pick here?
Yeah, I'll take you through the night, for me at least, for what it's worth, or for all of us, for Nick and Elton and myself who are sitting together. When Dallas and San Antonio jumped up, we knew our odds were pretty bad. I think they had dropped to like in the 10 to 15% range to keep the pick. Then it was announced by Philly's own Kevin Negandhi that we're out. And when it happened, I turned to Elton. I was like, I'm pretty sure we're not out. Like, just because we sort of understood it. Nick, who hadn't been in all our sort of meetings about it, actually, when I said we're not out, turned to Elton and was like, Elton, I don't think Daryl heard him say we're out. And I think it was, very fair. Like, it would be odd for ESPN to get that wrong. I think that's pretty rare. So it was almost like Nick thought I had lost my mind a little bit there for a second. And then when 7 wasn't OKC, Elton and I talked to, I was like, I'm pretty sure we're top 4. I was like, unless I again have like forgot how it works, I don't see how we're not in the top 4 now, is what I said. But even then, when you're on that stage and you're in that moment, even I was like, did I somehow forget something? Like, did ESPN like? And then when they announced we had moved up, that's when I was like, oh, thank goodness we pulled we pulled this off, and not only kept the pick, but got into a range of the draft where we're going to get a very high potential player. So, that was that moment. And then Nick asked me a question that I refused to answer in the moment, and the Sixers fans might find this maybe interesting, maybe not. Once we were in the top 4 with that group, our odds of the number 1 pick actually went quite high. We were at like 40%. Then when Charlotte went 4, our odds of being 1 jumped up to almost 80%. And then we ended up at 3. So it was definitely a roller coaster little period there that we went through.
Now, you were on camera for a little bit of that, but imagine if they had like a heart rate monitor to see.
Yeah, my doctor would have been recommending, something for me, in that moment. Yeah. So, but I love seeing Sixers fan. It was an incredible lottery party that was out there. My favorite part of the lottery party was that Sixers fans, not for a minute, were bothered that ESPN announced us we were out. They were so well informed. They knew we weren't out. So I just thought that was a great testament to Sixers fans, how locked in they are, how important they knew this moment was for the franchise. And, we're going to put all our effort in there to get the best player we can get at 3.
Yeah, that is a pretty cool story that it ended up the way it did. I got a final question for you. I was with Howie Roseman. He received the MVP award, Most Valuable Philadelphian, earlier this week. And he was asking, like, what time do the Sixers pick? Or when do they find out if they get the pick? And he wanted to know the exact time, and he was confident. And it kind of struck me because Howie Roseman went through some tough times in this town. He was doubted, and the Eagles had some really couple bad years, but then they rebounded to win 1 Super Bowl, have won 2 now, but they also lost the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And I saw a team that became extremely hungry. So I want to ask you, last year, what you went through last season, how much hungrier does it make you to get this right and try to win a title?
Yeah, I mean, that was one thing that Elton and I said after the evening. It was like, let's just never come back here. Right. So that was my first lottery. I hope it's my last lottery. It's sort of the parade of the bad teams, and you'd rather not be there. And we spent all year saying, like, how do we make sure we're never here again? And that's what we worked on. And I apologize, John. We do have a draft interview in 9 minutes, so I gotta get to it. But I appreciate the time.
I'm not going to affect Sixers business. Sixers fans will not be happy, so I'll let you go. Daryl Morey, thank you so much for your time. I know it's valuable. We appreciate your insights.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
The greatest. Oh, mom, so flagrant.